Hi, my name is Sarah Whaling, and I'm a certified life and relationship coach. I assist clients in changing their lives through addressing the subconscious mind to heal insecure attachment styles, heal core wounds, heal from relationships with individuals with personality disorders, and everyday pain points. Addressing problems at the root, the subconscious mind, is how we truly change the brain. If you're interested in one on one coaching to get some extra or ongoing assistance, please visit my website and visit the contact page to get the ball rolling. So, in this video today, we are going to talk about how to deal with gaslighting. First, what is gaslighting? Gaslighting is a manipulation tactic and abusive behavior meant to make the individual that it is inflicted upon question their reality and judgment, and can erode self esteem and self trust over time of the person on the receiving end. The term gaslight actually comes from a 1938 play, which was then made into a movie in 1944. What happens in it is the husband basically turns up and down the gaslight when the wife isn't looking, causing her to question her reality and judgment and second guess herself. I want to note that if you are in a relationship in which someone is actively displaying a pattern of gaslighting, I would not recommend staying in that relationship for two reasons. Number one is the effects chronic gaslighting will have on you over time. It's important to remember that the brain has neuroplasticity and the subconscious mind can be reprogrammed. While this is amazing news for healing, this also means that staying in a toxic relationship can reprogram us out of any healthy place we are at over time. Now, is that always the case? If we are in a healthy place and have a plan in place to deal with unhealthy interactions, if we cannot escape a toxic relationship, let's say a toxic family member that you live with, for example. No, it is not always the case. But if you are able to not involve yourself with an individual who has the habit of gaslighting you, I absolutely recommend getting away from them. The second reason I recommend not staying in a relationship in which someone is gaslighting you is that if someone chooses chronic gaslighting as their way of handling things, this is not an individual who is capable of a healthy, sustainable, authentic relationship. If gaslighting is their go to, they are one, not in a place of being able to or wanting to take responsibility for anything they may have taken a part in, and two, they are not in a place where they are capable of healthy love. If someone does not care about the effect they are having on you and doesn't care about your point of view and only self involved about the outcome, they are not capable of caring for you in the way in which you deserve to be cared for. Now, the next thing that I want to say is that if this is not a pattern and it is a one off, and you believe this person to have decent intentions, it can be worth addressing and working through. Good people who have poor emotional literacy or poor communication or conflict skills can resort to unhealthy behaviors to try to get their needs met. But if this is a pattern, you are likely dealing with a very unhealthy individual, such as a narcissist or other dark triad individual, and I suggest getting together a plan and safely exiting that type of relationship. But when faced with gaslighting, how do you protect yourself and how do you respond? How do you not allow this individual to damage your subconscious? The first thing I want to talk to you about is your inner compass in these situations. Now, many individuals that grew up in a narcissistic family system, for example, were conditioned in childhood to be outwardly focused and not pay attention to their inner world, to focus on what others think of them and not what they discern about others or how they feel about a situation. That is the world as they know it, and these beliefs are how they navigate through life. If you grew up with a narcissistic parent, you were conditioned, either directly or indirectly, that the attention and focus should be on the narcissistic parent and what the narcissistic parent needed. your own needs are possibly foreign to you in the presence of others, or foreign to you altogether sometimes. When in the presence of others, it is important to check in with yourself while considering the other people in your life. This is one reason why setting boundaries is difficult for individuals who grew up in a narcissistic family system, because in order to even figure out what your boundaries are, you need to be able to really check in with yourself. Sadly, many individuals who find themselves in relationships that involve chronic gaslighting were predisposed to these types of behaviors, often in childhood. And why is there a connection here? Because the subconscious mind gravitates towards what is familiar. And that is why that applies to so many individuals who find themselves in a relationship like this. That is why it is so important to reprogram your subconscious mind and rewire any unhealthy programs you didn't choose to have, because you will keep gravitating towards the programming that is there because that is what is familiar. So, how does this affect your inner compass in these situations with gaslighting? Well, if you are being gaslit, your focus may end up being on trying to prove your truth, because why? You were programmed to be focused on what others think of you. You were programmed to be outwardly focused rather than to check in with yourself. You are programmed that appearances are of the utmost importance. These are the unwritten rules in the narcissistic family system. You also may have been programmed that you are generally to blame, and that you are the bad one and that you are the wrong one. And this will especially be true if you grew up as the family scapegoat. So, what do I mean when I say inner compass? I am referring to how you navigate situations, how the world as you know it is, and what your deepest, most rooted beliefs are, i.e., core wounds in this case. So, the first thing that you want to do is examine what your beliefs are about the situation to begin with, and what your beliefs about yourself are. For example, maybe you have the core wound, I am unimportant, and that translates to how you feel is unimportant or less important than the person in front of you. You want to work on reprogramming the core wounds that may make you susceptible to being very affected, or susceptible to end up in situations with people who use manipulation tactics like gaslighting. Second, one of the healthiest epiphanies and mindset shifts you can have is realizing that you aren't here to convince other people of your reality. Take a moment and really let that sink in. Your responsibility in this situation lies in discerning if the way someone responds to your truth is healthy, if your needs can actually be met in this relationship, and if they deserve a spot in your life. One of the components of having healthy habits in place for your life is figuring out if the person you're having this interaction with is someone who you can allow close to you and will be healthy close to you. With every single solitary situation you encounter, one of the most important things to keep in the forefront of your mind is this healthy for me? And can it be healthy for me? Is this a safe person? Is this a safe situation? Any reasonable, healthy person is not going to chronically be dismissive or in denial when you express your genuine concerns or truth. Another thing to keep in mind is that if someone is, in fact, an unhealthy individual, they will want you to be in distress, trying to prove yourself, and to have that become the focus of the conversation. This mindset shift into discernment is a pivotal step of protecting yourself and responding to gaslighting in the healthiest way. Sometimes, if we grew up in an unhealthy environment, or if we were in a long standing relationship with a toxic individual, we might have the deep rooted belief that the world and people are just not safe. And it might be so unconscious that we don't even consider the fact that there are safe people in the world we can have relationships with. It might be so unconscious that we don't think to discern the safety of the people that we have in our lives. So that's something to examine. The third thing to do to respond in the healthiest way possible to gaslighting is to either set a boundary situationally, if it is a one off type situation, or set a boundary with the person if it is more of a pattern with an individual. Situationally, you would say something along the lines of, that is not the way XYZ was for me. My experience was such and such. I don't think that we can have a productive conversation about this. And set the boundary that you are done with the conversation. And of course, you can revisit it later if the person shows a willingness for healthy conversation. If it's more of a chronic habit of this person, it is likely time to set a more permanent boundary with how much access this person has to you in your life, if any at all. Well, I hope that this video was helpful, and if it was, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification if you haven't so you don't miss any future videos. I talk a lot on this channel about healing trauma, healing your attachment style, core wounds, healing from relationships with individuals with personality disorders, living a peaceful, happy life after trauma, how to have secure, thriving relationships, and the subconscious mind, which is how we truly rewire the brain and thus how we heal trauma. Thanks again.